relationship I focused on from my professional relationship map is my relationship with Spencer, who was my store manager. On my map, I rated this relationship about a 3 out of 5. It was mostly professional, but I also noted that it felt a little one-sided at times because I was taking a role on a lot of responsibilities beyond my role without really being recognized for it. So this was really important. This was a really important relationship for me to focus on because it directly impacted how I felt at work and how I was growing in my role. One of the main ideas that stood out to me from bosses, coworkers, and building great work relationships was the importance of managing up and being more intentional about communication with people in leadership positions. A lot of the insights I added to my map focused on being more open, direct, and proactive when communicating about responsibilities, expectations, and workload instead of assuming my manager already understood what I was doing. So I decided to actually apply that and have a more direct conversation. So what I did was initiate a conversation with Spencer where I talked about how my role had evolved. I was honestly a little nervous going into the conversation because I wasn't sure how he would react to it. I also didn't want to come off like I was complaining, so I really had to think about how I was going to say things ahead of time. I also made sure to choose a time when things weren't so busy, so it could actually be a real conversation and not be rushed or ignored. Instead of going into it emotionally, I focused on specific examples like times I stepped in to handle situations, supported the team, and took responsibilities beyond my original position. I also asked for more clarity on expectations and what growth or advancement could look like moving forward. His response was honestly better than I expected. He didn't immediately offer a solution or anything like that, but he did acknowledge that I've been taking on more responsibility. What I've noticed in that the way I approached the conversation made a big difference because I stayed calm and focused. It didn't turn out to be a defensive situation. It felt more like a discussion, if anything. This experience made me realize that a big part of the issue wasn't just the situation, it was how I was handling it. And on my map, I had multiple insights about needing to communicate more openly instead of staying silent or assuming things. And actually putting that into action showed me how important that is. And I think before this, I kind of just assumed that if I worked hard enough, it would eventually be noticed without me having to say anything. But this showed me that effort alone isn't always enough, so you always have to communicate it. And this was honestly a big mindset shift for me because it made me realize that sometimes managers aren't fully aware of everything you're doing unless you clearly communicate it. So part of building a strong upward relationship is advocating for yourself in a professional way. And moving forward, I want to continue building this relationship by having more consistent communication instead of letting things build up over time. I also want to follow up and ask for feedback more regularly, which is something I included in my map as a goal, so I can continue improving and creating more clarity around my role. And overall, this experience helped me feel more confident in speaking up and showed me that strengthening professional relationships takes effort, but it can lead to a better outcome. Thank you.